Good morning. It is wonderful to be back with all of you today. Um, it was quite the journey in Sedona, so it's good to be home and good to be back into my routines. I hope that y'all have had a good couple of weeks. Um, it's been busy for me, but really good. I have to say, all around, really good. Um, so let's see. I just wanted to let you all know that I'm going to do my very best to create a schedule of retreats for 2024. I'm really hoping to focus now that I'm back home. I'm really hoping to focus on that. It's been a little, I think I've been in too much turmoil with taking my son to college and then traveling to Sedona and everything I had going on. I had another retreat that I was attending this weekend. It was just like nonstop for the last month. So I think it's been a little hard for me to just sit and listen to what Mother would like for 2024. So I am putting my efforts towards that because I know that many of you like to make plans well in advance. So I want to make sure that I have something to share with you soon about dates that you can put onto your calendar. Hello, it's good to see you, Susan and Penny and Ravenheart. Lovely to have you here. And Ricardo, good to see you all. So today is going to be the third live stream with Mother's 4-part teaching that she has been doing. So the last 2 weeks, last 2 times, not the last 2 consecutive weeks, but the last 2 live streams, she has focused, the first one was on judgment, and the second one was on expectations. And you can go back and watch those videos. They are really powerful, and I have been they've been at the forefront of my mind as I've been going about my days, because I'm taking a much deeper look at my judgments and my expectations. Things have gotten pretty subtle over the course of my spiritual awakening, and if I'm not careful, those subtleties can start running the show again in ways that it used to be super obvious for me to see, but now I have to really get quiet and take my time and really look into my motivations, my actions, my behaviors, because sometimes on the surface they look okay, but I may not be feeling happy for no reason, or I may not be accessing my joy as readily as I have before. And so, not that I'm saying that I am going to be happy every moment. That's absolutely not true for me. But I can, if I stop and I pause and I sit with myself as I am, I can usually tell when my judgments and my expectations are getting in the way of my happiness, or are somehow creating some kind of a thought process that keeps me from my joy. So I have really enjoyed them, and I look forward to what Mother has to share with us today. And yeah, I'm going to be adding that to the last 2 teachings. So, all right, let's dive in. Mm. Mm. Hello, beloved ones. It is wonderful to be here with you today, to feel our communion, to rest in our love, and to step into the conscious experience of oneness. That you are in the presence of the divine, not just through this body, but through your own. That every moment you live in this existence, you are in the presence of the divine. No matter how you define that, whether it is through higher beings such as myself, whether it is through nature, whether it is your own higher self, your intuition, your soul, the spirit that surrounds you, the trees in your backyard, the storm that races across the sky, the beauty of the mountains or the sea. However you feel the divine, you are always in its presence. Inside and out. So if you find yourself longing for sacred moments, they are only a breath away. They are only a recognition away. They are only an awakening to what is. Don't deny yourself that communion, beloved ones. It is essential to your happiness, to your well-being. And if you practice this communion, this conscious connection, when you bring it into each and every moment, you will find that you can even start to bring it into your moments of anger, your moments of fear, your moments of pain, your moments of suffering, your moments of sorrow, your moments of depression. No matter how many consistent moments are involved in the depression, the loss, the anger, the fear. If you practice communion, embracing the sacred moment, if you practice this enough, you will start to feel it wherever you go, whatever you feel, and with whomever you are with. It becomes your new normal. So I have begun today's teaching with that because it's very important in talking about assumptions, right? So let me just recap a little bit that I want to be very clear. Excuse me, beloved ones, this body is recovering from a very bad cold, so you will have to bear with us today. So what is important to remember is that I am not encouraging you to divide your judgments, your expectations, and your assumptions into good and bad. Or that all judgment is bad, all expectations are bad, all assumptions are bad. That is an assumption. And a judgment. And an expectation that you're not going to do it because now you've decided that all judgment is bad, all expectation is bad, all assumption is bad, so you're not going to do it anymore. That is a setup, beloved ones. It's a setup for disappointment. It is a setup for how your mind defines failure. It is an engagement in perfectionism that does not lend itself to expanding more deeply into loving and being loved. So don't assume that your judgments are good or bad, that your expectations are good or bad. What we are going for here with these 4 things, judgment, expectation, assumption, and opinion, is neutrality, right? To experience them, to notice them, to feel what that particular judgment, that particular expectation, that particular assumption is doing for you, or what it's keeping you from, or what it is nurturing inside of you or feeding inside of you. So I encourage you to work towards letting go that hard delineation, good, bad. If you eat one thing, you're being good. If you eat another thing, you're being bad. Better to bring love into this whole experience, to allow that sense of neutrality to not engage in the black and white thinking, but that neutrality is there to help you notice. Notice what you're thinking. Notice what you're doing. Notice what you're not doing. What you're saying, what you're not saying, right? How you are relating to others. What is your motivation? How is that translating into direct behavior or reactive behavior, right? So I'm asking you to approach these 4 things that are simply a part of being human: judgment, expectation, assumption, and opinion. Just part of being human. And evaluate or use your discernment to understand what they are contributing to your life. Are they contributing more fear? Are they contributing a sense of rightness? Are they contributing burden to you and to others? Are they helping you to navigate a particular situation that you find confusing or chaotic? Sometimes a judgment, not discernment, but a judgment, sort of laying down the hammer, so to speak, can cut through the chaos of your mind or a situation and give you just enough space to find your sense of calm again. So that then maybe you can go deeper and find your discernment. You don't have to sit in the judgment. You don't have to set that judgment into stone. But sometimes these things help you to calm the chaos within. You are not bad for falling back into old patterns. Because sometimes you find yourself in situations that are very overwhelming, that are very confusing or painful or difficult. And you might rely on that old pattern to at least give you some breathing room. So if you get nothing else out of these 4 teachings, please take into your heart that surrender of you as good and you or you as bad. Just let yourself be you. And that's a big part of what assumption is built on within the shadow in any one human being. And that is the attempt at creating an image of yourself, creating an image of others or of life, or any kind of structure of thought or spirituality or religion or politics. Assumption is that energy that keeps it all in place, right? It keeps your image in place. It keeps your perceptions of the images of others. It keeps superiority and inferiority in place, or it can also keep equality in place, right? So not good, not bad. Assumptions simply are, right? So if you were to change your assumptions into whatever it is that was supportive for you, that nurtured you, then assumptions can work for you, as opposed to you feeling as though they sometimes work against you, right? If you were to assume that you were equal to all people, that all people were equal, no matter how much money they had, no matter where they lived or how they lived, what their choices were, how those choices impacted the lives of others. If you assume that all human beings were equal, that would literally alleviate the burden of low self-worth. Because those two things cannot live at the same time, right? So if you assume, meaning you are gathering this energy of assumption to hold in place equality for you and all people, then that would literally eliminate the burden of low self-esteem that you may have carried. But assumptions are tricky. They sometimes come only from the mind, but they can also come from your life experiences. They can come from your heart. They can come from your soul energy. They can come from the experiences of others. They can be formulated based on your beliefs. Sometimes shallow beliefs, very limited beliefs, and sometimes very deep and abiding beliefs. So assumptions now, with assumptions and opinions, we're getting more into gray area. The vast majority of hard-line judgments and intense levels of expectations tend to come from your shadow. That does not make them bad. It simply is one of the tools that your shadow uses in order to keep things the way you said you wanted them, based on your actions, based on current beliefs. But when we get into assumptions, things start to be more fluid. Assumptions in and of themselves have that neutral energy. It tends to be the sort of thing that what you do with them decides whether they fall into that shadow or light category, sometimes a mixture of both. So again, you want to explore your assumptions from that place of neutrality. What am I assuming about myself? What am I assuming about this person in my life that plays a big role? A significant other, a child, a parent, a sibling, a co-worker that you work very closely with, or a boss that has a level of influence on you in your career. Or what am I assuming about mother? What am I assuming about the divine? What am I assuming about my own spirit? And these are questions that can lead to a deeper exploration of where you're focusing your efforts, your energies. When assumptions come from your shadow, generally they are designed so that you don't look too closely at anything. When you assume something about yourself or someone else or a situation, you don't really have to look closely at what's happening, what you're feeling, what you're doing. Assumptions, when it comes from your shadow, are designed to cut corners, to keep things sort of fuzzy and hazy, so that you don't have to look too closely. Assumptions from the shadow feel like a convenience, a shortcut. That way that might seem easier in the short term, but end up causing more problems in the long term. Now, when an assumption comes from your light, that is more that feeling of rightness, I'm going to go back to that assumption that all people are equal. And not because it's written in a document or people like to say it out loud, but you really feel that in your being. Now, you recognize that some people have soul gifts that others don't, that people are different, they are unique, but they are all equal, yourself included. Now, that is a kind of assumption that is generated from an inner truth. It is from a rightness of being. And I don't mean rightness in right or wrong, but that rightness inside of you. And when you feel that, and you are acting from the assumption that all people are equal, you are going to make your own life better and the lives around you better. Because you have stepped off permanently that imaginary scale of superior and inferior. So all that energy that went into placing everyone on your scale of superior and inferior, yourself included, and how that might change depending on the circumstances, all that time and effort spent on that thing is done. So now you have all this energy for better things. Right? For being of service to those around you in a way that brings you joy. So what you'll notice, if your assumptions are coming from your shadow, you start to feel that you're taking too many shortcuts. That's the feeling that clues you in. That assumptions may be a problem in a particular relationship as you perceive yourself, in the circumstances you are involved in. You just seem to keep trying to cut too many corners. And there's this heaviness as if the bill is going to come due, and you might not have what you need in order to pay the bill, right? There's that sense that, I think I'm running that credit card up a little too high. And when that bill comes, I don't know if I'm going to have the money to pay it. It's that feeling that something is building up in the background. And you know you're going to have to face it at some point, but you keep delaying it and delaying it. And assumptions are one of the best tools to do that. And let me just emphasize here, this goes for this teaching and all my teachings. This is not about stepping into a habit of ultra analysis, that you are hyper vigilant and you are analyzing your actions and your behaviors in every moment. That all comes from the mind. And that is what I'm asking you to let go of. But when you align your mind to your heart, to your soul, to your body, to your being, your spirit, when you allow yourself access to your energy field and all of that is in alignment, you feel what you need. And those feelings translate into simple thoughts of what you need. where you might need a slight course correction, where you might need a slight refinement, where you might have a conscious understanding that this judgment you've made here may have given you a little breathing space, but it's not really going to help you in the long term. Or the same for a particular expectation or a particular assumption. That it might have calmed you down, but you can feel that what you're doing and the way you've always done it, or at least you've done it this way for a very long time, is not compatible to sustainable happiness, sustainable joy, the sustainable feeling that you are thriving, that you are in love with your life. So remember, beloved ones, none of what I ever give to you is something you have to figure out solely with the mind. It's nothing you have to analyze solely with the mind. I invite you into the exploration with your whole being. So the difference is with just trying to figure it all out in the mind and come up with the perfect solution in the mind so that you never have to deal with the burden again in the mind. It's like just dipping your toe in the water. But if you jump into your spiritual awakening that is ongoing every moment, if you jump in and submerge yourself into your spiritual awakening with your whole being, that every stumbling block, every issue, every problem, every fear that comes up inside of you or in your life, if you bring your whole being to it, it takes so little effort, beloved ones, to discover what you need and have the power to fulfill that need. Compared to the time and energy you put into trying to just figure it all out on your own with your own mind. Because when you jump all the way in with your whole being, you are automatically, organically connected to the divine. We are one. When it's just you trying to figure it out in your head, you feel as though you're on your own. And in a way you are, because you've cut yourself off from the source of your power. And while your mind is very powerful, when it is joined with the source of your power that comes from within your soul, your being, then finding solution is almost effortless. And accessing the power to carry out that solution is almost effortless. It just flows. Things fall into place. You find what you need. And if it takes a period of time, all along the way, you understand the timing, The timing feels as right as everything else that you're doing. So think of assumptions as a kind of support structure that keeps things in place. It can keep judgments in place. It can keep expectations in place. It can keep certain habits in place. It can keep beliefs in place. Whether it's shadow or light, doesn't matter. And when it comes from your light, if you are assuming that everyone's equal, and that is a deep belief, not just something you'd like to believe, but it is a part of you. You live it. Then when it's light, these are the things you don't have to keep tending to. When you take shortcuts because you are just operating, you are acting from the assumption that all people are equal, knowing that not everyone has that belief. Very few people embrace that belief wholly. It's a tough one to get to. But if you have it, and you are operating from that assumption, then you can take shortcuts. You don't have to examine it every time. It simply is. And the rightness of it continues to reverberate within your being, letting you know that this belief is solid. It comes from light. It is supportive. It's a good one for you. But if it comes from shadow, and it's the assumption that people are not equal, or that you are inferior compared to a whole other group of people or particular individuals, and you are superior to other individuals, if that is your assumption, the corners you cut by not examining that, that's what's going to have that heavy buildup. That's what's going to create burdens. So the way you understand your assumptions, whether they're coming from shadow and light, is by the burdens that you feel. Sit with your burdens and ask yourself, where is the assumption? What am I assuming here about myself, the other people involved, the situation? But if you feel a lightness of being, then you know that your assumptions are holding in place something positive for you. And only you can feel which it is. You have that knowing within you. If you give yourself enough time to explore, you will discover the truth of it for yourself. I love you all completely, unconditionally, without reservation, with no judgment, no expectations, no assumptions, no opinions, no need for any of that. My love for you simply is. It is present, it is current, it is eternal. And I invite you to jump into it whenever you wish. Namaste. Yep. Everything I'd hoped for and more. For sure. Thank you, Warrior Girl. And Iggy, great to see you. Oh, Carol, it's lovely to see you. Yes, me as well. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Indigo Doors. I think you told me what your name was before, but now I can't remember it. Jenny, love to see you. Good to see you here, my dear. Oh, from New Zealand. How awesome to have you. That is incredible. Angela, good to see you here, my love. Have a wonderful week, everyone. And if you like today's live stream, please give it a thumbs up, like it. And if you have not subscribed to our channel, please do so, because it'd just be great to have you in the community here. I love my YouTube community. You guys are awesome, and I love your comments. I read them all. Most of the time, I comment back, but I don't always have the time. But I do try to make the time, because I think you guys are awesome, and I love being here with you. And I appreciate that for those of you that are subscribed, that you participate in the live stream, that you comment, that you like the videos. You know, you are really being of service to others who find their way to this community. I know you all heard me talk about the Daughters of Heaven, the conference I just spoke at in Sedona last week. That's how they found me, was through my YouTube channel, these videos. So when you're here, you're being of service. And I got to talk to, hundreds of people present in the room. And then I don't know how many people were online, who attended online around the world. But now they have the opportunity to experience Mother through me on our YouTube channel for free. You know, that there's this free content here that people can access and enjoy and get so much out of. And it's really because of you all, because, if I just kept doing this and nobody ever watched the videos, I would have stopped doing it years ago. So your service is important, and it's greatly appreciated. So just wanted to say a big thank you to all of you. You are so very welcome. Oh, Barbara, it's so great to see you. And Felicia. Yeah, agreed, Penny. Yes, lot to integrate with all of it. And my favorite part, I have to say again and again, how Mother just brings so much love to it. That we're not good or bad. We're not, oh, I'm doing this again, or, oh, I can't believe I did that again. It's all just, bring love to the moment. Let yourself be whoever you are in the moment and make decisions from there. It's like let's start here in this moment, in the current moment. Let's start now. We take the past and we learn from it. We explore it so that we can understand ourselves better, so that we can make better decisions in the present. But you can just feel that no matter what we do or don't do, we just feel that love. She's like, okay, you did that, or you thought that, or you felt that. Just let it go. And let's start now. Let's start from here. I love that. Absolutely love that. Love you too, Iggy. All right. Have a fantastic week. And I will see you all here next week. Mwah. Much love to you. Bye-bye.